getting a part 2. That's where the saga continues.
Jay-Z and DMX relationship goes back to high school, where they both attended George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School in downtown Brooklyn. If you look up Jay-Z versus DMX, a cipher backstage from the Hard Knocks tour comes up, but that's actually not the battle. It says it's the battle, but it isn't. But they actually did have a real battle, but DMX's camp wasn't okay with it being recorded. There's a short clip of Jay-Z rapping, but apparently they went all night in a debatable battle. It has to be the most high-profile battle of all time in terms of star power. These guys are 2 out of the top 5 best-selling hip-hop artists of all time. So I just don't know how anything could come close. It's such a shame that there's no record of it. On one hand, I understand, but on the other hand, it's just such a lost piece of media that is so historic for hip-hop. 2 of my favorite rappers of all time, and 2 rappers that I think kind of wrote in a way that kind of lent itself well to battle rap. So I would have killed to be able to watch that, or to have been a fly on the wall in that room. Would have been amazing. Rest in peace, the late great DMX. Craig G vs. MC Supernatural. First and foremost, I have to say that it was a big internal debate for which tier to put this battle on and which tier to put the Supernat and Juice battle on, because I didn't want them on the same tier, but they're both completely iconic. The reason I landed on the Craig G battle was because this battle happened first, so I feel like it makes more sense to talk about it first. This battle took place in 1994 while Supernat was hosting the Lyricist Lounge. Supernat got challenged to battle Craig G, and he's not one to turn down a challenge. He didn't know Craig G was in the building, but he accepted, and Craig G came on stage with a 40 ounce in his hand, and they proceeded to have a classic battle. Craig G zipped him up in one of the earliest recorded body bags. Supernatural is maybe the most iconic freestyler of all time, so Craig G's victory is one of the greatest in battle rap history. Salute to both of these legends.
Move on these squares like a chess piece, I'm deadly. Even if you're supernatural, I'm Craig G.
Y'all know you heard me? I ain't got no motherfucking soul.
He ends off every round with, yeah, you know what it is, you heard me. I ain't got no motherfucking slogan, Jersey. Sounds like a slogan to me. What's your life like? Random. Let's get what, man, you got the most in the league.
Slogans are a major part of modern battle rap, and it was something that kind of felt like a natural progression. The things that I think brought slogans into becoming an actual thing in battle rap were rappers using slogans as intros before the battle actually started, rappers using the same tagline every battle, like Landslide or Easy or Zip 'em Up, and then you had fans at venues wanting to hear classic bars that they had heard before, and then you have the battle rappers wanting to hype up the crowd and get them the building on their side, basically. And I think all those things kind of came together, and what we ended up with was each battle rapper kind of having their own slogan. Some have several slogans, some use it at the start, some use it at the end of their rounds, some pull them out of nowhere mid-round. So the rules are kind of vague, and it's not really in black and white, so I really don't know what you guys consider a slogan. There actually is debate as to like what is a special move and what is a slogan. And then you have separate things entirely, like Loaded Luck saying, "Smack, is you ready?"
Smack, is you ready?
Ready. It was ugly. It's ugly for JC.
I love that. So every time before I start a pay-per-view, I always tweet, "Smack, is you ready?"
Yeah.
He's big proof.
Love
X Factor Anonymous.
best slogan ever.
Before battles, for example. And I kind of feel like all of these are just kind of representative of what battle rap kind of is and has become. It's a very self-referential thing. Now, the history of slogans is kind of a difficult one because it didn't just happen overnight. It wasn't like there were no slogans and then all of a sudden there were slogans. In early 2010, DNA battled Un P, and he actually used the word slogan. And I'm pretty certain that's the first time anyone in battle rap used the word slogan and actually had the crowd like responding. Now here's where it might be controversial. There were battles before this, such as Math Hoffa versus T-Rex, where Math spit what would become slogans, but at the time they weren't slogans, right? The first time you say something, it's not a slogan, it's a slogan, the second and third time you say it. Now here's where it gets a little weirder. People had slogans in their intros, not a part of their rounds, but they would use the same slogan to introduce themselves in a battle prior to DNA. So your mileage may vary as to what you consider a slogan and when you consider it actually becoming a slogan, as in how many times you have to say it. But by my estimations, the first real quote slogan was DNA against Un P, and the second time he said it was against Sue Surf just a couple months later. I think B Magic against Conceited played a big role in every battle rapper wanting a slogan. I think just the way the crowd reacted and how hype it was in the venue, I think battle rappers kind of saw that and was like, okay, I want that. And that's when it became like very normalized, in my opinion, and something that battle rappers kind of thought they almost had to have. Now, I do think Arsenal does deserve some flowers in this regard, because he was hyping up crowds with his slogan before B Magic, but I think the B Magic call and response type thing versus Conceited is like the greatest slogan ever delivered. The only thing, in my opinion, that tops it, and I don't know if this is considered a slogan or not, but Hollow Man's PC Proceed with Caution, and that moment that he had in his most recent battle against Head Ice. And that was originally spit in the year 2003. And I also feel like I should mention that there were people who would use like a signature closer, like Hitman Hollow, for example, would say Ball Game, or Calico, for example, would say Landslide. Those, to me, I don't think really qualify as slogans. I think that that's kind of representative of what caused the slogans to become a thing in the first place. Was battle rap was becoming more and more self-referential, and guys were referencing their older battles. It was almost 20 years ago when Loaded Lux battled Young Miles. 5 years later, he battles Calico and famously used the same words to start his first round. Just this past year, he took on Rum Nitty, and I don't think anyone was disappointed when he started his first round with those same words. There's something beautiful about that. And if you consider that a slogan, maybe that's the oldest one. I personally don't consider that a slogan, but I won't hold you if you do. Like, Smack, is you ready? Like, is that a slogan? I don't know. But to me, the first actual clear-cut example is DNA. And then B Magic created a watershed moment for any new battler coming up.
Stephen Austin, it's PC. This means proceed with caution. Protect your chest, nigga. If your peeps don't come home, they probably cut. I'm in the place where you chicks that deposit cuts. My niggas got cake, push fives and up. Y'all can't shoot niggas, you guys is nuts. I blast you niggas, I flash you up. You think I'm bluffing? Come on, nigga, try your luck. It's a motherfucking doctor. And you doctor, I need you rap my phone with a shotgun.
Mad Cause I'm Styling On Ya is a reference to an old school battle, ENJ vs. Nyx. This is another battle rap turned fight, but that quote, Mad Cause I'm Styling On Ya, it transcends probably even battle rap, to be honest, at this point. Like, people to this day still say that, and Nyx just delivered it so smooth and cleanly that it just stuck. But almost immediately after he said it, he got punched in the face. And somebody like did this weird like Windows Movie Maker style like editing to it, and it's just one of those clips that's been shared and probably seen by probably 20 million people have seen this, and probably millions more have heard the quote, Mad Cause I'm Styling On Ya, and almost no one probably knows that it was said by this dude named Nyx. Now the other dude, ENJ, nice little bit of lore for you guys. You guys might not know that he actually battled Head Ice. So that's a fun fact. He didn't swing on Head Ice, so he showed some good discipline there, some good trigger discipline. So that's an improvement. But Head Ice 3-0 and Nyx 3-0. It's kind of a shame that we never really saw Nyx again, because he has one of the most quotable, iconic lines in battle rap history, and just kind of vanished. I hope he's doing good wherever he's at, man. Salute to Nyx.
Now, when Math got jumped, you was there, but you was scared, and it's cool if you were square. Just be true to your fam. But you said you couldn't fight that day because you had on slippers. Well, that excuse, yes, you did, and that excuse is the stupidest. Damn, it don't matter what's on your feet. What the fuck that got to do with your hands? You could have held it.
The Charlie Clips flip-flops. So this is a reference back to the fight that Diz had with Math Hoffa. Why are Charlie Clips flip-flops important? He says that's the reason he didn't help Math Hoffa in the fight, although he calls them slippers. And if you watch the video of the fight, you can see Charlie Clips he's there sort of in the middle of it, sort of not really helping Math, kind of doesn't want to be there, you can tell. It's an angle that gets used pretty frequently against Charlie, and it led to Charlie and Math having a great battle themselves.
Yo, what up, Charles? We could go back and forth for entertainment on what a matador, I could kill the bull and end the game. See, I was never mad that you didn't fight. Let's switch the statements. It was your reason why. Because it was a lie and it was blatant. You said you ain't pop because you had on slippers, nigga. Slippers, nigga. Okay, if you got beef with Charles, catch him at the beach. You gonna whip the nigga with Superman.
Lux versus Daylight. This is one of like the white whales, the golden goose of battle rap. This is a battle that people have been talking about going down for years, and it still hasn't happened. Like, they're saying it's gonna happen in 2025, but can we really believe that? They've been saying that for a while. The only battle that could possibly be bigger than this battle is Sue Surf battle. Like, when Sue Surf gets released, his first battle out is gonna be huge, and any battle after that with him will be huge for sure. But other than that, there's no battle that can possibly come close to Lux versus Daylight. And I mean, it's a battle that we just need to see. I need to see it. The culture, everyone needs to see it. It just has to happen. I think for both of their careers, they need it. And I feel like there's just too many like what ifs in battle rap, and this just can't go down as one of the ultimate what ifs. Like, we already have too many of those. But the fact that this has been talked about for so long, I feel like both these guys are gonna have just a wealth of material. It's like been on both of their minds for years now, and they're literally two of the GOATs. Like, they occupy 2 out of my top 3. Like, I feel pretty comfortable saying that if this battle ever goes down, it will be one of the greatest battles of all time. But part of me feels like this battle is sort of like endgame for both of these guys. I feel like part of them each like having this battle as like the last battle that they ever do before they ride off in the sunset or something. I know that sounds like I'm probably thinking too much about it or something, but this is like such a big legacy battle for both of these guys. So they've actually come out and said that it's important to them that they own the footage, which is why they don't want to do it on like a league that would upload it themselves. So whether that's for like monetizing reasons, maybe they want to put it up on their own websites or whatever, or put it behind their own paywall, for example. Like, that's been a roadblock in this. But yeah, for years they've been talking about this battle like it's going to happen, and it hasn't happened yet, and we really need it, honestly. Just at some point. Loaded Lux said it's going to happen in 2025. I don't know if I believe that, but obviously it would be amazing to see, and I don't really know what stage they would put it on, to be honest. Like, maybe they put their own card together, but who knows? This is all yet to be seen. But all we can do is just be optimistic and hope that we get to see this one day. It would be huge for all parties involved, including the fans. Now, hot off the press, literally just as I'm making this, Rum Nitty vs. Daylight just got announced for April, which is going to be an incredible battle. I have no doubts about that. But maybe this could push a potential Lux battle back, I'm not sure. Now, one thing I know about Daylight is he's harnessed the Matrix to do his bidding for him and serve him, so I'm sure the Lux matchup will still happen, but we'll have to stay tuned. Joe Budden against Hollow the Don. This is a battle that took place on the very short-lived Total Slaughter. This battle actually had a huge buzz around it beforehand, and one of the reasons was there was a sort of reality-type TV show called The Road to Total Slaughter. Now, if you guys remember, Joe Budden was a member of the group Slaughterhouse, hence the name Total Slaughter. And he wanted to step in the battle arena and take on Hollow, who was literally one of the best battle rappers of all time. And a lot of people, myself included, thought Joe Budden would actually be pretty good. Like, for one, he is a good rapper, which helps, obviously. For two, he's popular, so you figure there would be some gas. And then 3, the bars he actually had in songs, like, I think some of those bars would actually shake a room. All it takes is a punch, he ain't brave, he a punk, put his family in boxes, meet the Brady Bunch, for example. But he just kind of didn't have the right game plan. His material, if you actually go back and listen, it wasn't that bad, and he actually said some like dope shit. I think he kind of fell into this problem of just having like the same delivery patterns. It's actually, I think, of the same thing that happened to Iron Solomon against Murda Mook. Like, that sort of sing-songy type delivery, it just doesn't lend itself well to battle rap. Like, it can at times. However, for 3 rounds to just have that same delivery and cadence, it's just not gonna hit and shake a room. It just isn't. Now, Hollow had some cool shit too, but the whole battle was honestly pretty disappointing, as was the event. And it goes down to so many different things. Like, it wasn't a great venue for battle rap, and there were some pretty big audio issues, especially during the main event. It kind of took them forever to get the guys on the stage in the first place, and then when they did, Hollow was about to start rapping and they realized he didn't even have a mic on. And then when it was time for Joe Budden to start rapping, his mic wasn't even working, so Joe ended up using a handheld microphone, which it just usually doesn't work in battle rap, at least a cappella battles. I know there's some exceptions, but especially in a venue like that, it just kind of seemed like everything was just kind of like a little off. Like, it was kind of bizarre that Hollow even got to that point without a microphone on. Like, that just seems like a pretty massive oversight. And Sway, as a host, is like a legend. He's hosted Blaze Battle, MTV battles. He hosted like Hieroglyphics versus Hobo Junction on the radio. Like, he's hosted some like legendary battles. So like, all due respect to Sway as a host, but like, Jesus Christ, if you watch like the whole pay-per-view, it's actually on YouTube, like the whole thing. Sway's like, before that battle starting, he's like, shout out to my homegirl over here. He's like shouting out like 80 people, and then by the time it's finally time to rap, Hollow still doesn't even have a microphone on. Like, it's just bizarre. This might be like what rap battles are like in Danny's parallel universe. I think the battle rap arena is one that's like very difficult to step in as an outsider. Like, you could look at Cannabis as an example, and to go against like one of the best guys doing it is like pretty ambitious, to be honest. I've always kind of had a soft spot for Joe Budden. Like, I still listen to a bunch of his songs. But not only did he take the L on this day, he put down his microphone and walked away. That's kind of like the ultimate sign of defeat. Now, this was a pretty big card. This was one of the biggest cards of all time, believe it or not. But Murda Mook and Loaded Lux had a rematch. Their first battle took place, I think, in 2003, and it was like 8 or 9 rounds. And it was a classic battle. And then they had their rematch at Total Slaughter. And on the road to Total Slaughter, there was a tournament, and in the finals, it was a matchup between Daylight and T-Rex. And Daylight had a beautiful performance art third round. Just executed flawlessly, but that's not a very good way to win a rap battle. So the judges in the end narrowly edged the victory to T-Rex. And I don't know if he got a trophy or anything, but yeah, he won that tournament in a stunning victory. And I don't know if he got a trophy or anything, but it'd be cool if he did. But I honestly don't think he got anything. It's just going down in the obscure hip-hop trivia or something like that. I don't know. Which is honestly kind of funny, because the marketing of this thing was, they were trying to market it like the next big sports league or something, like this big title at stake. But this was like a big deal at the time, and it really felt like this was some heavy investment into battle rap, which was pretty rare. However, this isn't the only notorious one-off type event from this era, but that's on the next tier, so that'll be in the next video. Caffeine, this refers to the live streaming website that no longer exists. So URL cut a deal with this live streaming platform Caffeine, and they put on quite a few battles, and they actually had live pay-per-views for free, which was great. However, people kind of look back on the Caffeine era with mixed emotions. This was also during COVID, so there was a lot of small room battles happening with not a lot of people there. Some of them turned out great, like Tay-Rock versus Daylight, for example. Some of them didn't really turn out so great, like Pat Stay versus K-Shine, for example. But like generally now, I think people really look back on the Caffeine era fondly. For one, live events streamed for free, that was great. Even if the website itself wasn't the best, it was still like good quality streams. And some of the greatest battle rap performances of all time were during the Caffeine era. I think there's always going to be a sort of pushback when you go to something new or try something new, or just try to stray away from the status quo. Like, just like with the app, like when everyone is so used to YouTube, it's just difficult to get them into a new routine or a different routine where they have to go to a different website to watch now.
And then I think when everyone kind of started to get used to it and get into a routine with Caffeine, then they started to charge for pay-per-views. And then I think they kind of just lost a lot of momentum that they might have had.
Kings vs. Queens was $17. It was 3 years for free, and then they started charging $17. Shout out to Caffeine.
And an interesting side note, around the same time King of the Dot was having their $100,000 tournament around the same time, and they were live streaming that on Twitch. So it was just a great time to be watching live streamed events in general. I think at the start there was a little bit of people being critical about it, but what's really notable about the Caffeine era is how much money they infused into battle rap. And not only for battle rap performances, but they paid people to do shows, whatever, like live streams basically. Like Mike P was streaming on there, he had a thing on there, and he talks about like what great money it was. Caffeine kind of got battle rappers used to making a lot of money, and if you follow the narratives of like battle rap being dead, a lot of it goes back to those big Caffeine checks. And then when Caffeine goes down, there's just no way to replace it. But it also makes total sense why Caffeine went out of business. Like, they were just putting so much money in that thing.
and it was cool. You know, we liked it, but I think we all kind of had this understanding that it did seem like it was kind of going to be like a limited time only, to be honest. I remember Dirtbag Dan one time saying like battle rap is like the one thing that like the more money you invest in it, like the worse it goes. And Caffeine was just like throwing money at people, and I just don't think that there was a way for them to recoup that. Like, even though like there is a huge battle rap audience, it's just not that big to generate that kind of revenue. And another notable thing about Caffeine, it was important to them to have their own like production team, and that's what actually marked the end of Ruin Your Day doing production for URL. But Smack was featured in an interview on Ruin Your Day. I don't think that there's any like ill will from either party. But Caffeine, you know, had a lot of money and wanted to do things their own way, and obviously look what happened. So yeah, that's just like one chapter of battle rap. Is this weird website came out and we had to watch battles on there. Shout out to the goats at Ruin Your Day.
Yeah, this Cassidy, man. When I started battling so long ago, it's hard for me to remember, man. I started rapping at like the 3rd, 4th grade.
Put a beat on.
Straight raw, man.
You can't put a beat on?
Straight raw.
Put a beat on. I want to spit over a track.
Straight raw, everything straight raw.
BDB, my nigga BDB!
Freeway vs. Cassidy is a classic battle, and this battle was a big reason why Cassidy had such a strong reputation in the battle rap community, because everyone knows how dope Freeway is. And Cassidy low-key kind of barred his whole life away. And at the end of it, Freeway was saying put a beat on, because they were rhyming a cappella. And Freeway asking for that beat, that was kind of him like waving the white flag, you know? Like you could just hear it in his voice the way he said it. He was defeated and he just wanted it to be over. So this to me is one of like the earliest recorded a cappella body bags. And both these guys at the time were so respected as MCs, and they still are, to be fair. But this was a very high profile battle, and this may have been the most like shared battle of the early 2000s, because back then it was all about file sharing. We didn't have video streaming, and this battle was huge on all the file sharing platforms of the time, and it's still a battle that gets referenced and talked about to this day. And I believe Cassidy is the longest active battle rapper in terms of actually having recorded battles. Like Head Ice, for example, claims he battled Big L. So, like, if that's true, then yeah, he might be the longest active battler.
I've been a battle rapper since motherfucking 1985.
But in terms of like recorded battles, I think it might be Cass. And when this battle happened, I think this was like one of the best battle rap performances of all time. Cassidy's performance, that would be. It was pretty infamous, and one of the most like classic and historic battles of all time. I feel like this battle might be one of the reasons why battles move towards more a cappella rather than over a beat. And I feel like Freeway asking for that beat just kind of offers like a bit of symbolism or something. But again, I probably just think too much about this shit. So there actually was talks of URL putting a rematch together. Nothing ever materialized with that, and to be honest, there didn't really seem to be too much buzz around that battle having a rematch. But it's a little disappointing to me that no one really is too interested in, one, seeing a rematch, but two, seeing Freeway come back to battling at all. I think that would be pretty cool, to be honest. But it's not something that we're probably gonna ever see. If y'all don't know about Freeway, he has songs with Jay-Z and Beanie Siegel, Nate Dogg, Snoop Dogg, Nelly, Faith Evans, 50 Cent, Jadakiss, Scarface, even like Mariah Carey. So shit, man, shout out to Freeway, shout out to Cassidy.
Hey, yo, this ain't Mook versus Mills, this ain't even Freeway versus Cass, this is Jin versus Verse, but his last verse was trash.
Versus, this is a show where not battle rappers, but rappers would take part in. Sadly, they don't do them anymore, but it was basically a show where artists would put up, you know, their music up against each other. The reason why it's here is because there was some battle elements, hence they called it Versus. But it was like a little similar to a battle, except obviously they're performing their own songs. But what put it over the edge for me is the famous Jadakiss freestyle over Who Shot Ya. Again, not really battles, but sort of battle adjacent, and I think just worthy of a little mention here.
Let them talk, nigga.
Let the music talk. Go in your corner. Go in your corner.
No.
We didn't violate you.
No.
You causing a distraction.
They don't know the fucking words.
Listen. New York, they causing a distraction. This is hip hop. We in the Mecca of New York. It's D Block. It's Dipset.
Right. Turn the
Why
words
they don't know the words? Yo, Tech, let's make something happen. it's all burners, all razors. Hand down, nigga, the game is all jaders. Anything drop, I cop in all flavors. He's a dick, you pussy, y'all neighbors. Hold on.
He's a school bus driver. It's not a joke. That's his actual career. It's his job.
Are you gonna tell these fans what kind of job you got, or you gonna tell them you the man at the barbershop?
I make a lot of money doing my personal training shit and what I do in my community. I'm well off.
But in real life, Randy's a male nurse.
Because word is in Philly, you work at a supermarket.
And I think it might be a bad year for some of you divas. Y'all said this IKEA cashier to fuck with the meanest?
Nigga, you work at a falafel stand.
I fucking hate battle rappers. I find most of they shine is lies. He claims he's in the street. I found out that he has a 9 to 5. And he gonna hit me with the dumb look, like I don't keep it real, y'all. But tell the people how you work at the St. Louis Mills Mall. And not even in the store. And not even in the store. This fag work in the kiosk. Across some off-Broadway shoes and some shit called the jewelry box. Yo, you think I'm lying? Dial 314-227-12 and ask Ali who's the best person he got in sales.
Battle rap day jobs. If you're a battle rapper, one of the absolute worst things you can be is employed. You're pretty much marked for death. All jokes aside, I feel like this is another situation where it's all about how you angle something or frame something. Like, obviously, there is nothing wrong with having a job. So it's not even really about getting exposed. It's more just about how they frame it. For example, some guys will flaunt maybe a lavish lifestyle and then they're not really living it in reality. Or if you T-top, you just go a completely different direction and have one of the most insane lines of all time. Pretty much the entirety of the written era, people have been getting exposed for their day jobs. Some famous examples would be Arsenal driving the school bus, Real Deal being a teacher, Sharon is a brute force guerrilla marketing door-to-door salesman, Misfit works for T-Mobile, and Disaster is a...
Listen, I'm an Al-Qaeda activist / Middle Eastern data analyst.
Some of my confirmed favorites are Oops, Gannick, Aaron Ward, the sports reporter. And this is another one where I think it's a little hard to discern fact from fiction. I think once one battle rapper says something, it can kind of just become canon, for lack of a better term. But yeah, like, no job is safe. Like, no matter what you do, someone's going to make fun of you for it. And I think the two most famous examples are Arsenal with the school bus and Rum Nitty at Walmart. Like, I think we all have jobs. Like, it's more shameful to not have a job. So I think this is kind of just one of those things that goes to show how good battle rappers are at just making fun of anything. Obviously, there's classic fat jokes, AIDS jokes, your mama jokes, whatever. But battle rappers will really just take anything they can. So here's a little list of just normal things other than having a job that you just can't do as a battle rapper or else you get made fun of.
Wait. Are those freckles on your face?
This guy said he's a bike rapper. This guy on camera said, I'm a bike, because
And I know these tiny ass t-shirts are part of some popular trend, but your shirt's so fucking medium it could probably talk to the dead.
Don't be all tough in your verse when you just coming from church.
This nigga's name is Ray John Cox. Ray John Cox.
I just came here to tell y'all goods daddy is a white man. You shot out of a honky dick.
Monkey suit Dennis, you parade him. A Steve Harvey suit nigga made him.
He's sad right now. Heart pumping so fast right now. He just wants to make his dead homies proud right now. Your boy Proof's looking down through the clouds right now, wanting to smack you like the dad you never had right now.
Rap Off is basically a cartoon series by the battle rapper Ilmac. These are some of the most viral battle rap clips of all time, not even on just YouTube, but all social media. These are the kind of things that my friends who aren't even into battle rap or hip hop know of and have seen and have like shared with me just because they know I'm into battle rap. So these are kind of just like fun little cartoons. The quality of the bars is actually quite good. Like, there's some real haymakers, and a big reason is because of all the battle rappers involved, not just on the writing side, but on the performance side also. And it's really just kind of cool to see rappers finding success kind of outside of battle rap, but still involving battle rap.
In this series, they did the cheese battle, dog vs. cat, NFT crypto battle, and ketchup vs. mustard. Hopefully we can see some more, and hopefully they get just as many views and attention as the original ones got. Shouts out to Ilmac, one of the GOATs.
Killed everybody they want to see in front of Lux. I put gray hoodie on a t-shirt, bitch, bundle up. And if y'all try to use views as a scapegoat, then the biggest league is rap off and it ain't close. They said the money...
Empire, this refers to the TV show by the same name. Wildly popular TV show, and on Season 2, Episode 8, a rap battle is featured. This is actually one of the most viewed rap battles on YouTube, and it's also not the only rap battle clip from the show. So I've actually never seen a full episode of the show, but I have seen these clips. I think they're pretty cool. My hope one day is that Terrence Howard takes a real battle. Don DeMarco. A lot of people have wondered who is Don DeMarco. So if you ever hear an air horn go off followed by Don DeMarco, that's him, the live DJ in the venue, hitting that himself. And that is DJ Don DeMarco, that's his name. Now, the air horns are kind of self-explanatory, but the actual Don DeMarco drop, that comes from a Jay-Z song, Can't Knock the Hustle, from Reasonable Doubt. Jay-Z was referencing the movie Don Juan DeMarco. Don DeMarco took it and flipped it to his own name. This would later become Bang Bang Bang, shit like that, and some other, like, now infamous drops. And even on leagues that aren't smack, if someone drops like a big punchline, you will hear people in the audience go, Don DeMarco. But yeah, the name Don DeMarco is probably always going to be famous in battle rap circles because of all the drops he did after classic haymakers. Like, I can't think of like a single other circumstance where it would be acceptable for anyone to like name drop themselves after a haymaker. So salute to Don DeMarco, man. He's low-key a fucking battle rap legend, to be honest. Another fun fact is he is Ja Rule's DJ. So although DJ Don DeMarco's first event working for Smack was Summer Madness 1, do you want to take a guess right now as to what the first Don DeMarco drop we ever saw was? This might be surprising or it might not. Here we go.
Look at all these portraits of my corpses. I'm just waiting on you niggas' sizes. I can have the pain in your big pain into a twit frame, get Eminem the 8 Mile by Tenet, or Rush the 5'9". Go hip-hop. Now, Calico got one air horn near the very end of his first round, and it was after a nice bar that got a good reaction, but Lux does this little gesture that definitely plays a role in the reaction, and I think might play a role in the drop itself. I also think Don DeMarco might have thought that this was Cal's last bar of the round and dropped it for that reason. And again, just the air horn, no Don DeMarco. So he got an air horn before Lux, but Lux got multiple air horns before he even started to rap. But then I think he just fell into the trap of getting too hyped up for Loaded Lux. That was like the first bar Loaded Lux spat at Calico. Like, it literally took Loaded Lux like all of 30 seconds to get his first Don DeMarco, and that was the first Don DeMarco ever. And when you start to consider that, seems like a lot of favors were being made for Lux in that battle. Like, he got his own walkout and like a PowerPoint presentation. And even before he started rapping, Smack was like really, really hyping it up, which it should have been because it was a big deal. But when you put all these pieces together, to me it kind of feels like Calico was set up to lose in that battle. But I mean, Lux material was still just undeniable, so. Now, here's where this may get controversial. This was the first battle released from Summer Madness, but it was the main event, so it took place at the end of the night. So technically, the first Don DeMarco would be on the earliest battle that had a Don DeMarco. So the first battle that night was Hitman Holla vs. John John the Don, which is one of my favorite battles of all time and has some great bars that are worthy of drop. But going back and rewatching, I'm not hearing any drops. Where this gets weird is he actually did an interview and he was kind of unsure when the first drop was, but they said Hitman Holla, John John, because that was the first battle of the night. But again, go back and watch it. I don't hear one. Maybe you guys can find one that I missed or something. Or another thing was maybe it happened in the venue but didn't happen like in the final product for some reason. Because there is like some sounds that I hear that might be a DJ drop but aren't like the classic air horn Don DeMarco. What's for certain is the first one we saw as an audience was Loaded Lux. So I think that there wasn't a drop during Hitman Holla and John John the Don. If someone was in the building or something and knows, like, let me know. The second battle of the night was DNA versus E-Ness, which was kind of a train wreck of a battle. But DNA caught a body, and if you watch, like, the Get Rid of Ness quick bar, like, it got a crazy crowd reaction. I think that would have been a great time for Don DeMarco to use a drop, but he didn't. So that leads me to think that he didn't use one in the Hitman Holla vs. John John the Don battle, because that seemed like a better opportunity to use one than even came up at all in the John John the Don Hitman Holla battle, and he still didn't use it. So in the beginning, it seemed like he was maybe a little more conservative with the drop. However, he did get one at the end of his round, and that might be the first Don DeMarco. So that was the second battle of the night, and if there wasn't one in Hitman vs. John John, Enes rapped first, but he didn't get a Don DeMarco. DNA ended up getting one at the end of his round. I don't know. This is where I fucking pass the ball over to you guys. What do you think?
Now, I feel it should be noted that Mr. DeMarco wasn't the first to play an air horn at URL. As you might remember, they used to use air horns to signify the end of the round when they used to use timers. And the first upload to URL was Jay Mills versus Rich Dollaz. So the first person to get the air horn was Jay Mills. Rich Dollaz went to spit his first round and kind of choked immediately. So the first non-timer siren was actually for Rich Dollaz, technically. Now, here's where it gets a little weird again. And I'm through the looking glass here, people. Do you remember when DNA got the first Don DeMarco? Do you remember it was at the end of the round? I feel like maybe that plays a role in this. Because the siren started at the end of the round, and the Don DeMarco started at the end of the round. And apparently Don DeMarco himself doesn't have any fucking answers, so we're kind of just lost without Minnesota Luke. But in my opinion, the air horn was to end rounds, and then Don DeMarco started for DNA as a round ender. There's another piece to this chapter here that is kind of weird. Enes's first round didn't really get a positive response, but there was one moment where he got a pretty good crowd reaction. And I hear an air horn in the background, but it's so quiet. Like, it's not the same Don DeMarco distinct type drop, but it is an air horn in the background. So see for yourself, you guys. Enes might have the first Don DeMarco, minus the Don DeMarco part, which probably makes it a non-Don DeMarco.
Let me tell you something about the Dot Mob. Them 3 niggas got 9 lives. Because no matter how many times somebody go upside their head or beat them in a battle, them 3 niggas will not die. This shit ain't paying my...
You hear that in the background, but it's quiet, you know? So there might have been a drop in the Hitman and John John battle that was just quieter than that, and maybe they got louder as the night went on. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. Now, one thing I am sure of is that what we see on video isn't exactly what happens in the venue. For example, we get to actually see like the full end of DNA's round ender. However, for Enes, it just cuts abruptly to the URL logo, and then it gets to DNA's round. So the editor would pick and choose what to leave in and what not to. Now, in terms of the actual literal Don DeMarco, as far as I can hear, it's DNA's first round against Enes, but listen how quiet it is.
It's round 1, it's getting hot in here, and what's the whole y'all know my slogan. No, get Enes the fuck out of here. Every time I battle Philly rappers, I chill them. I got Ronan Tech the fuck out of here. In that 3rd round, I got my Tooth the fuck out of here. Fuck every legend on the card. Get Iron Rex, Lux Serious, and move the fuck out of here.
Listen to how quiet that Don DeMarco is. And to be fair, the crowd is really loud. DNA got a huge reaction. And there's also music playing, but there's a distinct Don DeMarco, and it's not as loud. Just like the air horn that Ness got in his first round. So I think Don DeMarco had his volume down, and maybe it was even lower during the Hitman John John battle. And then he cranked it for Serious Jones and Charlie. And then Lux just sent him over the edge, and he went crazy with it.
In my opinion, an official Don DeMarco is the air horn and then the Don DeMarco. And it has to drop after a bar, not to signify the end of a round. To me personally, because DNA got the first Don DeMarco, but it was to end his round. Averb got a Don DeMarco to end his round. Charlie Clips and Serious Jones were getting air horns and Don DeMarcos for their bars. And although Charlie got a Don DeMarco in his first round, it was at the end of his round.
Rex and Averb battle had air horns, but no Don DeMarcos. Seems like Mr. DeMarco was really trying to figure it out in the early game. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice that the early Don DeMarco drops, there was a bit of a gap between the horn and then the Don DeMarco. And that's something that Mr. DeMarco really tightened up. All right, so going forward, I think we can all agree that there are bar horns, that's a horn for a bar. There are time horns, that's a horn for a time limit. There's a raw Don, that is just a Don DeMarco, no horn. There's a time Don. That's
just a raw Don with no horn, like what DNA got. But a full Donald is a bar horn and a Don DeMarco, and it has to be for a bar, not at the end of the round. Okay, I'm glad we're all on the same page. Thank you.
So then, okay, what's the first official Don DeMarco? Well, it might surprise you.
Freestyle shit, Jones, but it don't work here. If you freestyle about the barbershop, then it hurt and you really work there. So since you a barber, hold on. So since you a barber, hold on. Hold on. So, listen. So since you a barber, here's a little advice you can use in your spare time. That freestyling won't cut it. They brought tickets to hear lines.
Don DeMarco.
Hey, yo, y'all know me. It's been a minute, but off the top, I dismantle shit. Yeah, 9 years ago, I was a barber. So you know I know how to handle clips.
Don DeMarco.
It took Serious Jones all of one bar and a freestyle one to get the first ever, to me at least, official Don DeMarco. And honestly, Serious Jones was kind of already one of those guys that doesn't get the flowers that he deserves. His body bag of gin killed the freestyle era, and he was the first guy to do a prolonged scheme in a battle. I think Serious Jones really contributed in ways that people don't really give him credit for. And yeah, I guess he got the first Don DeMarco, at least from what I can tell and what I consider Don DeMarco.
But in conclusion, Don DeMarco starts working at URL Summer Madness 1. Don DeMarco starts using his patented drops a year later at Summer Madness 2. As the night went on, he cranked it up louder until it hit a fever pitch for Lux and Calico, and then I think since that was such a well-received battle, it just became the norm. But I do think it is a little weird that Calico didn't get anything, since Charlie, Jones, DNA, and even Ness got an air horn drop, and then Calico didn't. His material wasn't bad. The crowd was obviously against him because it was Lux homecoming in New York, obviously, but still.
But either way, it's a piece of the Summer Madness 2 legacy, Loaded Lux legacy, and maybe possibly DNA or Hitman Holla legacy, I don't know. Iron Solomon versus Math Hoffa. Why is this battle so important? Because I think, and not just me, many people think that this is the battle that sort of laid the blueprint for the entire culture as to like what type of bars you should bring to a battle. Because battles didn't used to be that personal, but then this battle came and they're scheming, they got bars, but they also have things like name flips, which weren't that prominent beforehand, but were extremely prominent after. These guys didn't invent any of the tactics they used in their battles, but they both kind of put it all together against each other for the first time, and this is what I think makes this the first battle we can look at as an actual truly modern battle. It was from 2007, and it still holds up today. It's a great battle. But this battle, I think, gave a lot of up-and-coming battle rappers like an idea as to the type of material that they were going to have to bring to a battle. And I think it kind of elevated the whole culture. Classic, great battle. 2-on-2s. This is a pretty interesting one. So a lot of people probably think that 2-on-2 started at the WRCs. That's actually not the case. There was 2-on-2s before that. But I will say the WRCs definitely made it popular.
Those back-to-back WRC years were pretty special to me and a lot of battle fans who were watching battles in that time. I remember actually seeing an ad for the World Rap Championships 2006, and I was maybe 13 years old, and I like ran over to my kitchen and was like, "Mom, you're not gonna believe this. Like there's the World Rap Championships, it's gonna be huge." And then it came out and the battles were great and like just super entertaining. Obviously they're 20 years old at this point, so if you watch them back today, like yeah, they're crazy dated, but I'm still very nostalgic about them. And there was just so many battles in that tournament, and this was like a time when it wasn't even weird for battles to be happening like quote off camera, but somebody to happen to be recording with a cell phone type of thing.
Like a lot of us were like used to that. And then Jump Off I think was on satellite TV in the United States, but they did put all their stuff online. And it was just so much content and in like pretty good quality that like way better than what we were used to. I remember Jump Off TV also having things like almost like talk shows and like highlight shows where they would have bars of the week and things like that. There's just a lot of like really cool elements that Jump Off was implementing 20 years ago that like now we're seeing leagues do, but Jump Off was kind of ahead of their time in that regard.
And then you fast forward a few years, King of the Dot puts on a 2-on-2 tournament. There's some great battles, and even some non-tournament battles were great, like Bender and Lopeshi against Kid Twist and Poe Rich. There's some great 2-on-2s in Don't Flop, and then Smack started putting 2-on-2s together. And to this day, some of the most popular battles that Smack ever put on was 2-on-2s. Mostly groups like Gun Titles and Loaded Hollows. Obviously, you have like Marvin Quest, for example. They're always going to be legends. And I think that Marvin Quest are actually a big reason why Smack started doing 2-on-2s. Like, I'm not sure if they would have really took on the life they did if it wasn't for those two in particular. Obviously, the Saurus and Immaculate need their flowers as well.
I think the run that the Saurus and Immaculate went on is one of like the greatest runs in battle rap. We look at like Geechee Gotti, obviously, because he had an insane run. Probably the greatest of all time, but I feel like some runs in the freestyle era just don't get maybe their due respect like the ones in the written era do. And I think that the Saurus and Immaculate's run through 06-07 is probably the most impressive run aside from Geechee Gotti's. Jin had a crazy run before Sirius Jones, and shout out to Conceited, because those runs definitely get overshadowed, and I feel like there's more freestyle era runs also. But
now in terms of the written era, I think Shufflo, that's Shuffle T and Marlowe, probably are the greatest of all time, and I think that a battle between them and the Saurus and Immaculate just has to happen. I don't know how realistic getting either of those teams on a Smack stage for a 2-on-2 would be. I'd personally love to see it. I really love 2-on-2s, and 2-on-2s were great for the freestyle era because you could play off of each other. There was less dead air, so to speak, and you had like a little extra second to come up with a punchline. But yeah, I think 2-on-2s in battle rap are here to stay. I think people love them, and I think people want to see them. There's still matchups for all the famous 2-on-2 teams out there that people are clamoring for.
How a lot of people don't think about anything. How often do you just sit here or sit somewhere and calculate the possibilities of your existence?
When I was younger, I used to question, like, why am I in the hood? And as I got older, I realized, like, I wasn't punished. I was privileged because, like, I got to play life on all Madden. I never stressed when my plate was empty. Never. I knew eventually, like, it would come.
We live in a video game world, bro. Half of these niggas ain't even real people, bro. Watch this. You know that, though. Bruh, that can't be a real nigga. That nigga is clearly a Grand Theft Auto created character. He look like he'll get hit by a car and get back up and continue to walk.
Daylight just gets his own. Like, how could you possibly put like one Daylight thing on here? Like, there's so many antics, just so many great performances and so many weird performances, so many crazy interviews. He had so many amazing live streams on his YouTube channel, and YouTube deleted his whole channel, so that's all lost media now, which is really, really unfortunate. But Daylight currently might be the most successful battle rapper, music-wise, outside of battle rap. Got a feature on J. Cole's album, which is pretty major. Currently signed to TDE, and Roomful of Mirrors puts out really, really great music. Highly recommend checking them out. And Daylight is just completely infamous, from the ski mask to the face tats to the personality he has on live streams to the crazy things he says in interviews. It's almost like you never know when to take him seriously or when not to take him seriously. But Daylight, he has some of the greatest freestyles of all time. He has, in my opinion, the greatest battle rap performance of all time against Tay-Rock. And he is just completely goated as an artist. We can all feel how we want to feel about his antics, but it's been a long, long time since he's done any. But the antics that he did do brought some more attention and eyeballs to him that otherwise may not have been there. And then, like, you peel back the layer just a little bit, and you find, like, the guy who's clowning around the most, like, has some of, like, the deepest material, you know? So for that reason, Daylight is kind of his own rabbit hole. Like, I could put Bradley on here. I could put his antics on here. The guy tried to take a shit on stage. Like, he straight up just, like, walked out of battles. And the funny thing about the battle that he walked out on against Roan was Roan himself was doing an antic to try to combat Daylight's antics. And then Daylight leaves, and then it just leaves Roan on the stage dressed like Abe Lincoln. This is the beautiful thing about battle rap. Sometimes it's just
so bizarre. It's like those beautiful train wrecks, you know? Those are the moments we live for. So like something about Daylight that makes him so captivating is like he's clearly an intelligent guy. And if you watch his live streams, he'll say things that he knows like no one will agree with. Well, not no one, but like most people won't agree with. Like he says dinosaurs are fake, for example. And then like he'll say like the earth is flat. And you never really know what he's going to say next, you know? But he's just like always entertaining. I mean, even as a white guy, when he says white people are aliens, like if Daylight says it, it's true, man. Like, I'm sorry, guys, the earth is flat, dinosaurs are fake, and white people are aliens. Like, this is Daylight's world. We're just living in it.
And my question to y'all, Waffle, how have y'all really tricked y'all self into believing y'all from here?
That shit is good when you go into that world where you could just sit there and think. Like, you ever notice when you go into that daydreaming type of world, you don't even be breathing? Have y'all noticed that? Think, what if we really don't need to breathe? What if air is a lie? Like, do y'all question some of this shit? And that's the thing with me, like, I question a lot. Like, so I'm at the point to where, like, I don't believe nothing.
I want to take a minute here to actually do my best to give Daylight his flowers. Daylight is one of those guys that I feel blessed that I've been able to follow. I think one of the beautiful things about battle rap is that it's sort of such an entry-level thing that you can really follow some amazing and straight up interesting career trajectories, and Daylight has really been on one, and he's really kind of like set himself up for an amazing 2025, and I hope he goes fucking platinum one day. I know a lot of people like don't really understand Daylight, and to be honest, I don't really understand him either, and I don't know if that's kind of the point of the whole thing. I'm not sure. I feel like Daylight says things that he knows are things that people don't believe, but I think he thinks that they might be true, so I feel like for that reason he thinks it's worth to say that he believes it just to get you to think about it. And I never thought dinosaurs might not be real. Why would I ever think that? Daylight's on a live stream and he's really asking how dinosaurs had sex, and that's not something I ever had to imagine. But yeah, when I did imagine it, and yeah, I gotta give it to him. It's kind of hard to imagine that. I think Daylight is a performance artist. I think Daylight is an incredible musician. I think Daylight is so many things. In terms of battle rap, in my opinion, he's the greatest of all time. I'm sorry. But I think more importantly beyond that, Daylight is a free thinker and maybe most importantly, an incredible father. Daylight isn't someone who came from easy conditions. It would be so easy for Daylight to not be that guy. Yeah, he is that guy, and he's a fucking legend I feel like we've all been blessed to bear witness to. I think Daylight has such an interesting outlook and philosophy. He's hilarious, but he's also very intelligent and perceptive. There's so many layers to the Daylight onion, but like thematically, the things he talks about and the way he delivers his messages, there's just something so uplifting about it. Because the fucked up shit is like he's really on like some Control the Matrix shit. But if you look back at his life and his career, he kind of did control the Matrix, and he kind of said what he was going to do. He kind of outlined the whole thing, from the antics to the battle rap performances, where he wanted to show you how talented he was with his pen, and everyone knew that he was so dangerous with his pen, so he wanted to show you those elements, but he wanted the antics to kind of overshadow it. So he wanted like the fans, you know, to know that this guy was insane, but then people who didn't even understand anything would even know about this guy who tried to take a shit on stage. And then eventually this all pays off in the end, and you look at him now, he's signed to TDE. He's on J. Cole's album, and like an even bigger deal, he has a J. Cole feature on his song. Daylight hinted out that he wanted to release music and Battle Loaded Lux at the same time, have those two things line up. I'm really just hopeful and optimistic that those things can happen this year. One of the things that make his message so inspirational is his own story, and I think the face tat plays a pretty big role in that. I think Daylight uses the face mask to create a persona that he can't escape. That's him. He is Spawn. That goes down to him saying things that he knows people are going to disagree with. That goes down to him doing antics he knows are going to make people upset, because he knows he's going to win you back. It's all part of the game. But even furthermore beyond battle rap, like a face tat is something that you live with. This is, I think, something like very personal to Daylight. And I think Daylight looks himself in the mirror and he sees Spawn. And Daylight is a hero, because coming from where Daylight comes from and seeing what you have to see, probably from such a young age, come out the other side with such a positive outlook, and not only spreading the message but kind of living it and encouraging others to follow the same path, like on top of being like at the forefront of your respective field. How can you not love that? I think Daylight is a shining example of the rose that grew from the concrete.
And I feel like if you walk by a street and you was walking on concrete and you saw a rose growing out of concrete, even if it had messed up petals and it was a little, to the side, you would marvel at just seeing a rose grow through concrete. So why is it that when you see some ghetto kid grow out of all of the dirtiest circumstances and he can talk and he can sit across from you, make you smile, make you cry, make you laugh, all you can talk about is my dirty rose, my dirty stems, and how I'm leaning crooked to the side. You can't even see that I came up out of there.
True story. Who's worried about the man in the mask, the plan that I grasp? I am Spawn, I got us.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Very.
Very?
Very, very, very crazy.
Why do you think you're crazy?
Because I'm willing to do what people don't want to do. I'm willing to not be normal. Spawn is a bad guy who ain't good guy. More of the story. I'm a good guy now, although I have a very bad past. And I spend the rest of my life erasing that past. Only to be a good guy at the end of the day.
I'm about to have a nigga leaning like this. I said, yo. With this. I'm dead serious. Yo. Do not go do my nigga head eyes like this. Let's go. This is the fucking Lions Den, nigga. Hey, yo. Aces, nigga. Let me go. Easy. I said, yo. I used to play ball.
I said, yo, this is a very common way that people open their battle rap rounds. And a big reason why goes back to Head Ice. Head Ice obviously wasn't the first person to ever say, I said, yo. But in his battle against Ty Knots, that's how he started his round. And it's maybe like the greatest battle rap reaction of all time. All he said was, I said, yo, but I don't know if it was like the way he said it or what, but it shut the fucking venue down. And people reacted for like a minute. So after that, it became super common for battle rappers to start their verse with I said yo. And I feel like it's just become so common that there's probably battle rappers out there who have said that, but don't know that that's where it comes from. And again, Head Ice wasn't the first person to ever say I said yo, but that classic moment is why I believe so many people start their rounds with I said yo.
Say yo. You like to start your shit off with I said yo, that's my shit to it. I say yo, I came here to break dinner.
My name is Matt Ills.
Grind Time Now. This one honestly should have its own iceberg, but I'll just take it from the top and give you guys a brief overview. The three main pillars of Grind Time were Direct, Matt Ills, and Lush One, and all Grind Time battles were posted to Direct's personal YouTube account, youtube.com/Direct. Still to this day, if you type that in, it will bring you up to Grind Time Now. And Grind Time is the league that really ushered in the YouTube era. Before Grind Time, there was one league out in Nova Scotia that's further down the iceberg, but for all intents and purposes, I think everyone kind of looks at Grind Time as starting the YouTube era. Mostly because Grind Time was the first league that incorporated established battle rappers on YouTube from the freestyle era, and openly people were rapping written rounds, and events would happen with it being uploaded to YouTube in mind on Direct's YouTube channel. Now, Grind Time wasn't the first written league, but I think incorporating established freestyle battle rappers into a written league really kind of put battle rap on the trajectory to land it where it is today. Grind Time had a short run. It was just a few years, but it's still to this day one of the most seminal battle leagues of all time. And it's one that a lot of us, myself included, will revisit from time to time and go through, the classic battles that we all loved. But yeah, we can think of Grind Time as the first prominent YouTube battle rap league to have a roster of rappers, and they eventually would fly them out and pay them. They were the first league to pay rappers in the YouTube era, and that would be Frankie Waps and Jay's Juice from New York, who they flew out to California, and according to Lush One, paid them a couple $100 each. So slowly over time, starting around probably 2011, Grind Time started to fade, and other leagues, URL and King of the Dot mostly, started to take prominence and started to kind of leech battle rappers off of their roster to fill their own cards. Most people kind of look at Mad Ills as a big reason as to why Grind Time sort of collapsed. I think the biggest factor was there was just too many battles, to be honest. There was just too many divisions, and kind of like a lack of quality, respectfully to the battlers involved. But Grind Time was, in its heyday, you would expect a good battle, and then eventually that just wasn't the case anymore, and the barrier of entry kind of got a little lower, and the battles weren't so good anymore. And then you have these other leagues putting on bigger and better cards with like better production too, and slowly Grind Time kind of just faded into obscurity. There's quite a few relevant Grind Time entries further down, so I don't want to just spill all the beans right now, but there's one battle in particular that I feel like did more damage to Grind Time than anything else. That's a little further down. Up top here, still above the surface, this is a celebration of Grind Time, man. It's one of my favorite leagues of all time. To be honest, it probably is my favorite. And to make their battles so accessible was kind of like a changing of the guard. I remember you had to go on jumpoff.tv for a long time to watch their battles. They eventually did upload theirs to YouTube, but that was for the most part in the wake of Grind Time. Although they did have several battles uploaded to YouTube prior to Grind Time. They weren't a YouTube league. They, for the most part, hosted their battles on their own website. And the WRCs, for example, was actually on DirecTV, or at least I think it was DirecTV. We don't get that here in Canada, I don't think. I never had it anyway, so please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I definitely spent a lot of time on jumpoff.tv, and it was just a mixture of rap battles and like booty shake competitions. But Grind Time was the first popular league to normalize throwing events and just uploading them right onto YouTube. And I'm really looking forward to getting to the real grimy Grind Time shit down the bottom of this thing. Like the Grind Time title shirt lives fucking rent-free in my head. Another legendary league, Fight Club. Now, as far as I know, Fight Club was the first league to have a 6-figure paycheck. Jin actually won 2 6-figure paychecks and a car. And this was so long ago. Like, making that much money off rap battles was kind of insane. Even today, making that much money is insane. Fight Club, like on some level, I think was the first place to kind of offer like the potential of a living off battle rap. So it's high up for that reason, but it's also high up because Fight Club has a huge vault of lost media. There's many battles that went down on Fight Club that we may never see the light of day ever again. Some prominent rappers to battle on Fight Club were Arsenal, Hall of Dawn, Jin, Young Ill, Avalanche, Murda Mook, Hitman, Nems, Sirius Jones, 40 Cal, Math Hoffa, I said Nems. But they had a great roster, and it occupied a time and space in battle rap when they were it. They were like the big thing. This was a little before Loaded Lux and Lion's Den. So with the quality of their roster, its prominence in the culture, the lost media, the seminal battles to go down, and the fact it was just before Lion's Den, made me put it first. Not to mention those huge prizes. Now, on the lost media, as far as I know, there's no full battle of O Solo versus Gorilla Nems, but then there's this list of battles, and like, these battles need to be released, I'm sorry, but like, look at these are crazy battles. Un P versus $3, I would kill to see that. Like Locksmith and Iron, like Lock was so dope as a battler, and he's still insane to this day. He dropped some of the greatest freestyles of all time. Like Reed Dollars versus T-Rex, and like French Montana versus Murda Mook, like what? 2 guys I was always a big fan of. Same with $3 and Avalanche. And shout out to the host International P that we'll be talking about a little later, a little further down, because that dude deserves his flowers. Now, a big reason Fight Club is so major in battle rap history is because it was on MTV2. A lot of people refer to Fight Club as their introduction to battle rap. They were literally like channel surfing and stumbled upon battles. Like, that's pretty fucking cool and something we honestly may never see again. But for the love of God, man, those vaulted battles just have to come out, man. That's history right there. Tay-Rock Doorman. This one is just kind of funny. This is an angle that people always use against Tay-Rock. And this is a reference to the fight that took place in the 2-on-2 Murda Mook and Calico versus T-Top and Briz Rothstein. Basically, the battle got a little too close and personal, and Murda Mook took a swing on Briz. And it's one of the craziest clips in URL history. T-Top T-Top hit a fucking bowling strike. He took down like half the stage. It was incredible. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, so, we can joke about this stuff. So what does Tay-Rock have to do with this? So the fight breaks out, and Tay-Rock just doesn't involve himself. But what he does do is hold the door open, which, doesn't seem that bad on paper, does it? But there's like some things in battle rap that, you're just going to get made fun of for. This is something that comes up in almost every battle that Tay-Rock does. Personal favorite of mine is Twerk saying that they use rock to hold the door open like project building. But yeah, when you hear anything about Tay-Rock and a door, it's referring to that battle and that fight. And Tay-Rock just holding the door open. It's probably thinking of saving the women and children who didn't want to get caught up in the scuffle, It's a fucking good Samaritan. There was maybe one woman and probably 0 children at the event. But that doesn't matter to Tay-Rock, man. He's a fucking hero. Math vs. Disaster is a classic battle that went down on King of the Dot. This is a battle that had a huge build-up. Two guys that did not like each other for, years before this battle even happened. They hated each other. And like this whole time, it kind of just felt like they were just set up to fight. That's really kind of what it felt like. And like on some level, respectfully to Math Hoffa, everyone kind of wanted to see him get punched in the face. This wasn't that long after a certain other battle that happened. And Math had already had that reputation from the first Dose battle. Like, I feel like people kind of knew that karma was coming, and on some level they wanted to see it. And I'll be honest, I don't think Disaster really set out to do that. But I think with Math Hoffa in his face saying, do it, I feel like he had his back up against the wall, up against the wall, up against the wall. Yo, sorry, that's a deep cut. But with the battle already being over, and it being such a good battle, and then Diz just getting tempted to, man. Like, I think Math Hoffa knew what he was doing, right? Like maybe Math wanted that to happen. I don't know, man. But the bottom line is it did happen. Diz did swing on him. A big fight breaks out. And if you watch, they get separated, and then Math Hoffa goes back in for some more. And in terms of the actual fight, Diz kind of served him, to be honest. So I guess Math Hoffa's professional battle rap MMA record would be 2-1. And it's kind of crazy that that fight that they had almost overshadows the battle, because that was a really, really great battle. Highly recommend you guys check it out. But you might be surprised to learn that this wasn't the only battle that these guys had. They actually had a battle on the tournament of the Road to Total Slaughter. The event was actually put on by Eminem. That was a reality show that put a bunch of battle rappers inside of a house, which led to some great memes and some pretty cool battles too. Now it's interesting because no one really revisits these battles. And I think a lot of people kind of want to forget the whole Total Slaughter experience because it was kind of seen as a flop and a complete failure. It's just really difficult, in my opinion, to invest money as an outsider into battle rap and actually recoup it. I just don't know how feasible that is, to be honest. But it was pretty cool to see Eminem try. And this wasn't the only attempt, and this wasn't the only weird reality show in battle rap history. But those are for a later episode. One thing I would like to point out is that the battle on King of the Dot took place June 28th, 2014. And then just a couple days later, the Total Slaughter battle was uploaded, but it took place prior to that. I think they were trying to capitalize off the buzz, so they uploaded their battle. And then that episode came out on July 9th, so all this kind of happened, kind of all together at once. But for intents and purposes, when someone references Diz and Math Hoffa, it's the King of the Dot battle. The battles that took place on the Road to Total Slaughter were quite short, and maybe that's why these battles don't get revisited as much as they should. I don't know. But it is a pretty interesting tidbit in the chapter of these guys' careers and their rivalry. So Diz won on the tournament. He went on to battle Daylight. Daylight won that battle, and then Daylight did his thing on the Total Slaughter stage. Machete spray. The machete spray gets referenced all the time. This is something DNA said a long time ago, so they'll spray the machete. Now, obviously, you can't spray a machete. Like a spray, that's something you do, with a rifle, obviously. However, I kind of feel a separate way about it, and this is just my honest opinion, and I know this is controversial, but fuck it. We're already 25 minutes in, so if you're with me, you're fucking with me, and you're gonna hear my dumbass opinions. Spraying a machete is kind of hilarious, just to think about, but a big part of me loves that, these impossible bars, right? It kind of reminds me of Hitman Hollis' reload with the bullets that came out of him. I know people hate that bar. To me, it's weird that it's just these bars that people think have to be literal. People say things that are obviously untrue constantly in battle rap. I have a gun so big it looks like I'm shooting t-shirts at halftime. Nobody walks around with guns that big, but nobody minds because they just know it's not true. So I don't know why people just cherry pick certain bars that don't make sense and use it against the battle rapper. Sometimes it's not supposed to make sense. When Hitman Hollis says he can reload with bullets that came out of him, the reason he's saying that is because he knows it's impossible. He's saying he's so sick that he can do it. To me, that's I don't know, some Matrix shit or something, and it's just some fun imagery. It's not that serious, you know what I'm saying? And spraying a machete is just kind of the same thing. It's just some fun imagery of something that you can't even do, but DNA saying he can do it because, I don't know. I mean, I think he kind of just freestyled that, to be honest, but yeah, I don't know. I got a soft spot for those kind of bars. I know it's controversial, but thanks for listening to my fucking TED Talk. Calico's dad. As we all know, Lux had one of the most iconic battle rap performances of all time against Calico at Summer Madness 2, and one of the angles he used heavily was about Clips' father and calling him lost. As it turns out, Calico's dad is actually a pretty respected guy. He goes by Blackface, and he even attends some events, and he's even rapped a little bit, and you can tell where Cal gets that influence from. One of the events he did attend was Loaded Lux versus Hollow to Dawn. This was a couple years after Lux took on Calico, and Hollow had an angle where he actually brought out Blackface. And you can check out Math Hoffa when he had Marv and Quest on. They were talking about him. They're from Detroit, same city, and they refer to him as a legend. It's not a word that a lot of people like to throw around. And I kind of feel like the fact that Blackface is so respected locally, I feel like the angles that people took against Cal kind of went from his dad, as Loaded Lux called him, a lost person, to the angles being about Calico sort of piggybacking off his dad's reputation. It was kind of interesting to watch that play out. But by all accounts, Blackface is that dude, so salute to Blackface and salute to Calico. And Charlie Clips' dad is another one that comes up, not only by his opponents, but also by him. I think a lot of people would point to his performance against T-Rex as one of, if not his best performance. He really flipped the narrative. I feel like flipping it from being about his dad to about his mom is just a great moment and one of the greatest rounds in battle rap history. Now, one thing I want to say when it comes to people's family members, rappers' family members, this is strictly just battle rap, just stuff that comes up in battles, stuff that battle rap fans almost have to know to understand the bars. I have zero interest in speculating on anything outside of battle rap. So Big Gerald, for example, Hitman's dad, I'm okay with using his face because he actually attends events and does interviews and stuff like that. I'm okay with using Cal's dad's, for example, because again, he attends events and does interviews and stuff like that. But I have no interest in posting anyone's picture or something if it's outside of battle rap media, and I hope y'all can understand that. Just some housekeeping, because there's obviously a lot of gossip that goes on in battle rap, and there's a lot of family member stuff like that throughout this iceberg, so I feel like I just gotta kind of say that. So back to Clips' dad, he's actually serving a full life sentence. That's not just made up battle rap shit. That's real. He got charged in 1996, and Charlie Clips honestly just seems like a straight up good dude. It's probably got to be pretty difficult. He was a young guy in 1996, having your father locked up, for life is probably not an easy thing to deal with, and Charlie Clips just seems like a good guy in the wake of that. Now, another fact about Charlie Clips' family that I considered putting on the iceberg, but isn't that relevant to battle rap, is why it didn't. Charlie Clips' cousin is Rich Porter. That's an infamous case, and that's something that he brought up in an interview with DJ Vlad, and T-Rex actually mentioned Rich Porter by name in their battle, so it was kind of just a microcosm of just worlds colliding, and it just made such a incredible performance from Charlie Clips. against T-Rex.
I had buku runs before you new school bums. Laid the blueprint for everything that you do, rum. Knew smacking bees before I knew what YouTube was. I could even explain in detail what Nunu does. And I was
If you've ever watched a battle on URL, there's a good chance that you've seen this heavenly blessed beauty front and center next to Smack. So people started seeing her at nearly every event and just naturally started to wonder what it actually is that she does. She apparently is manager. That's been brought up in battles. John brought up her being Prep's manager, for example. But in her own words, she is a glorified fan. It seems like Nunu and Smack over the years have developed this mutually beneficial relationship. And she's kind of just become an ambassador for the brand. And at this point, she's just such a staple. She's been going to events for so long now that it just wouldn't feel right without her. Nunu Nails, I love you.
Hold on, Nunu Nails your manager? Fuck you had to do for that? How are we supposed to know what she can do for you when we don't even know what she do for Smack?
Get my dick out your mouth!
Roan hard-hitting poetry refers to his third round against Big T, which went wildly viral across a few mediums, including Reddit, and somebody posted the YouTube, just his third round, got millions upon millions of views, and it had this ridiculous title, Hard-Hitting Poet That Doesn't Hold Back. It was just so stupid, but it went so viral and is probably, to this day, one of the most viewed ever battle rap rounds, and I think this actually kind of gave Roan a boost in his career outside of battle rap also. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've always kind of felt like that. So this battle took place at King of the Dot Blackout 5, and the reason it went so viral was because Roan just was so savagely attacking Big T for his weight. And if you look at Big T today, some people attribute his weight loss to Roan's third round. Fun fact, but I don't know. To me, it feels crazy to give another man credit for someone bettering themselves and getting healthier, so I'll just use this opportunity to salute Roan and Big T. Shout out to both those guys.
App gang. All right, this is another controversial one. This refers to the URL TV app. One of the reasons it's controversial is because the app is kind of buggy, and that's something that I've experienced myself, but that's not why it's here. It's here because it's kind of just like a major part of battle rap history, and I don't know if the app will always be a thing or if one day they'll get rid of the app, but for now it's a thing, and it seems like it'll be a thing for the foreseeable future, and there's so many great battles behind the app that are just not available outside of the app. It's controversial, I think, because people were so used to YouTube being the status quo, for example, and then them putting stuff behind a subscription-based paywall didn't sit right with some people. I understand it. I think it seems pretty normal. You have overhead, you have expenses, and you have to monetize things if you want to keep your business afloat. Now, I don't begrudge anybody for not getting the app, for example. Like, we all have to vote with our dollars, right? But there are people who say that the app is bad for battle rap. Having all those great battles behind a paywall reduces the accessibility, and battle rap is going to suffer. However, again, I'm not sure I agree with that, because when the app kind of took over, so to speak, it left sort of like a vacuum, for lack of a better term, on YouTube, and there's still such a large audience of people who just use YouTube for rap battles that it gave leagues like Chrome, for example. Like, Chrome really took off in the wake of the app, and RBE, I think, is the league that we would look at as benefiting the most. And both those leagues put out incredible battles, and not just those leagues, by the way. I think pretty much every league benefited a tiny little bit from URL putting their stuff on their own website. It might not grow the audience. It might not be the best thing for audience growth. However, for the stuff that is getting uploaded to YouTube, like, I think Easy the Block Captain, look at the views he gets. It's really, really remarkable, to be honest. And I don't know if that's something that people saw coming when the app first became a thing. So maybe the culture feels like a different way about it now. I don't know. But the app is kind of an established thing that's not going anywhere. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Me, myself, I'm kind of indifferent to it, to be honest. It's just one of those subscriptions I have. If I'm being 100% real, I don't spend too much time on the app. I still watch more battles on YouTube, even as a subscriber. And I feel like, yeah, a big part of that is just what I'm used to doing. That was always
kind of, not always, but for the past 20 years pretty much, was how I and most of the culture interacted with battle rap. So I mostly just go to the app to watch specific battles, but I'm not usually clicking through like related videos on the app, just like I am on YouTube. But yeah, what is your thoughts on the app? Are you subscribed? Are you not subscribed? Do you think that I have a decent assessment that like leagues like Chrome and RBE really benefited from the app? I mean, I know it's controversial, so I'm just kind of curious what you guys think. Like, you know, a few years after, when the app first came out, I understand some pushback, but now a few years later, I think maybe people are a little more okay with it. Anyway, Nestle versus Borat. This is one of the weirdest things to ever happen, probably. First and foremost, Nestle is an absolute legend of the rap battle scene. Not only like in-person battles, but he is a legend of like audio battles. Just a classic poster on RMBBA and stuff like that. So Nestle is the fucking man. So Nestle versus Borat. I'll be honest, I don't really know why I put Borat. Sacha Baron Cohen is the actor. He did this for the movie Who Was America. So he was a different character, but I always kind of think of him as Borat, even though I was like a fan of Ali G before Borat. But yeah, this is just one of those weird, bizarre battles. This battle took place on Bopen, which is John the Don's league. And all they told Nestle was that he was battling a college professor. So Nestle was kind of blindsided by the whole thing. And I highly recommend checking out Nestle's interview about this because it's pretty funny. Like they really went like the extra mile to convince Nestle that this was some like low budget production, including paying him in like $1 bills and like shorting him a few dollars. And then the battle happens and Nestle was kind of, okay, that was interesting. But he didn't really think a whole lot about it. He didn't even know that it was Sacha Baron Cohen. And then like a year later, the movie comes out and he was just so shocked that he battled Borat. And this has to be one of like the funniest like pranks in battle rap history. Just like such a weird little, you know, side tidbit.
I suffer from macrophallus, and I find it an encumbrance. You talk in bragging terms about the size of your phallus. I believe the inverse is true. I myself am ashamed that I have a larger phallus than you.
Easy and Remy. So Easy is Easy the Block Captain. Remy is Remy Ma. Easy is one of the faces of battle rap right now, for better or worse. Remy Ma is the face of Chrome, the league, which is one of the biggest battle rap leagues right now. Right now we're fresh on the heels of Shotgun Suge versus Easy, which was very centered around Easy and Remy's relationship. But I made this iceberg, even before that battle. Geechee Gotti's third is probably the more prominent example of someone going in on that topic. So to condense the story as best as I can, Papoose and Remy were together. They have a falling out. Allegedly, Remy cheats on Papoose with Easy the Block Captain. And now Easy the Block Captain and Remy are together, and they've been together for a while now, and they allegedly love each other, but their relationship is just, it's kind of bizarre how much like gossip comes out on their relationship, like even them putting their own stuff out on Instagram and stuff like that, and like just the whole, it seems to be bigger than battle rap, to be honest. Like it's like makes real news headlines, so that just feels a little crazy. But it's something that comes up in battles constantly. Now, Easy versus Papoose. This doesn't refer to a rap battle, but an actual fight. Because one thing about Papoose and Remy's relationship is Remy Ma actually went to prison, and Papoose didn't budge. He remained loyal to her. And then, fast forward, she gets released from prison and cheats on him, allegedly. And then Papoose allegedly knocks out Easy. But it happened. It's not alleged. It definitely happened. So this whole situation is something that comes up constantly in battle rap, especially fresh on the heels of a battle like Shotgun Suge versus Easy. Tay Rock is a trans ally. Man, Tay Rock is a good Samaritan. This guy holds doors open for women and children. to escape a dangerous situation safely, and he's very progressive. So all jokes aside, this is a commonly used angle against Tay-Rock, and it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to discern fact from fiction. So Tay-Rock is in a relationship currently with Lady Caution, and they actually seem like a good couple, you know, like good for each other, right? But if you rewind, there was a lot of gossip about Tay-Rock, and Miss Hustle actually had one of these people on Instagram Live, and they claim that Tay-Rock is cool with them being trans because he just wants head. Now again, like discerning fact from fiction, and this is kind of just like hearsay, and I don't really know what's true or not, but this is a very commonly used angle against Rock. But like now that he's in an obviously heterosexual relationship, I think it's kind of died down a little bit, but probably something that his opponents won't ever stop bringing up for as long as he battles, to be honest. Cardi B. Did you know Cardi B was a ring car girl for Smack? Not only that, she has challenged her husband Offset to a battle, and she's one of the judges on Netflix Rhythm and Flow, which features some rap battles. Loaded Lux versus Mac Miller. So Mac Miller is a guy that we saw battle on Nick Cannon's Wild 'N Out, and also the viral high school clip of him. Did you know Loaded Lux actually has a full battle verse against Mac Miller, aka Easy Mac with the cheesy raps? On his album Watching Movies with the Sound Off, track number 9 is called Red Dot Music featuring Action Bronson. The song itself ends at about the 4.5 minute mark, but the total song is over 6 minutes. The reason being is because Loaded Lux has a acapella battle verse directed at Mac at the end of it. And Mac Miller was a real fan. He told Lux not to hold back, and Loaded Lux comes through with a great battle verse that probably could have shook a room if he delivered it on a big stage. This is just a fun piece of battle history. Rest in peace, Mac Miller.
The world don't give a fuck about your loneliness. Bumping Mac, rolling through my city on my solo shit. Shed some tears and wrote this shit. Trying to cope with it, fuck it, I'm emotionless. Neck with bolts in it. Comfortable in my skin now that it's broken in. Mac Miller, young as shit, said he ain't want to join the 27 club and died at 26. That ain't what he meant. Hit him the night before saying track was my shit. Now I wish he could come back to earth. What a trip.
Space Jam is a bit of a double entendre. One of the classic moments of battle rap history was in a 2-on-2. Shotgun Suge and New Jersey Twerk against Quest McCody and Marv One, when Twerk hit him with the Space Jam dunk. And the act out, the performance was just amazing. The crowd reaction was amazing. Just an awesome moment. But if you haven't seen Space Jam 2, the pig, what's his fucking name? Porky Pig had a rap battle. In terms of an actual battle, it's terrible. And Bill Collector had a better That's All Folks line, but obviously it's a huge movie and a massive franchise, and also it's for kids, so like of course it's not going to be a good lyrical, miracle, spiritual battle.
I'm here for all the smoke. Your squad ain't all star, your squad is all jokes. And this with one bar, most famous of all quotes. This battle is now over, that's all folks.
Bloggers hating on me, motherfuck them, they all broke. You started to the pigs, that's all folks.
Teacher vs. Student is a reference to Mark Christ vs. Blizzard, a battle that took place in England on Don't Flop. This battle was huge for the British scene and was marketed as a teacher vs. student battle. To this day, this is still the most viewed battle with 2 British battlers. This would get shared and reposted on every social media website, each getting millions of views, and there's even separate video uploads on YouTube with over 1 million. I feel like if you were to ask like any given British rap battle fan what their first battle they ever saw was, like 50% of them would say this one, and many more around the world too. This was very commonly people's first introduction to battle rap, and it was just crazy how popular and viral it was, and for that reason it'll go down in history. The battle itself is quite dated, it's obviously very old, but it's still one I'm sure a lot of people go back and rewatch for nostalgic reasons. Chess acid reflux. This refers to a ongoing issue that Chess has been having with he says it's acid reflux, so that's why I put acid reflux. Some people think it's anxiety, other people might have some other ideas as to what it is. I'll be honest, like me myself, I have acid reflux. It's something I deal with every day, and I've never once thrown up from it, so I really don't know if it's acid reflux, to be honest, because that would be a crazy case of acid reflux. So I kind of tend to think that nerves do play a role in it, maybe not the entire role, but there's just times and battles where it's difficult for Chess to get his material out, and he's actually like had to stop rapping and puke like mid-battle. And to this day, whenever there is a chess battle, you don't really know if he's going to be able to cleanly perform his material. However, when he does perform his material, he's one of the best. But this just kind of creates, it's almost like there's two different chesses, right? There's acid reflux chess, and then there's healthy chess. So the reason I think that nerves play a factor in it is because the early chess battles, it didn't seem to be an issue, and it seemed to be a bigger issue the more popular chess got. And obviously, the more popular you are, the more pressure there's going to be on you to perform, because people are going to have higher expectations as opposed to when you're just some new guy, right? So I think this is akin to, there's oftentimes in sports, you find young players who are new to the league will have some of their greatest highlights. And I feel like, because when you're new, you can just release your inhibitions and just go for it. And I think chess kind of had that in the early stage. And then you become a prominent figure, and all of a sudden there's just so many more stresses involved, right? So that's my theory. But yeah, when he's on and able to cleanly deliver around, chess is one of the best ever. And it's really unfortunate to see him struggling with something like this.
So it's either one of two. One, chess at this point in his career with as many big stage battles. I mean, and the reason why I don't think it's this is because this man has stood in front of Loaded Lux in a stage of 3,000 and was absolutely fine, right? And I know sometimes it depends on the scenario, but I don't think he's nervous. Two, which is the latter end of why I think he throws up, and which I think is the main reason and the only reason why he throws up, is from over projecting himself when he raps. If I were to ask you to scream at the top of your lungs right now, you'd probably scream, and is overexertion. And I think also the combination with acid reflux.
I threw up on purpose.
Dumbfounded versus Tantrum, one of the greatest battles ever. This is a battle that took place on Grind Time. And it was two Asian guys, and they both kind of had similar material that kind of just melded so well together. And their battle almost seemed like a collaboration at times, even though it wasn't. It's just one of those battles that just seems so perfect. Okay, so why is it here? Well, this was the first battle to reach 100,000 views. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but this was a big deal at the time. And people were counting down. It would be at 90,000 views. People were like, oh my god, this is going to get 100,000 views. Like now that's literally nothing. But that was like a huge step for battle rap. And then it was one of the first battles to get 1 million views, but it just missed out. It actually might have been the second. It was one of the first, but it was a different league that had the first 1 million view battle. So this battle is here because it felt like such a celebration when it hit 100,000 views, and that just kind of goes to show how far we've come. You know what I mean? Still to this day, an amazing battle. Okay, Bob Celeste. Who is Bob Celeste? You might be wondering. Well, Bob Celeste is big lawyer shit. This is a name that Chess dropped in a battle, and then no one really reacted, and he was like, yo, you guys don't know Bob Celeste? And then he said, that's big lawyer shit. And that's just a classic quote. Now, there is a guy with a very similar name to Bob Celeste that we kind of think Chess was talking about. His name is Bob Celestin. Now, what's funny is I don't think anyone really knows who Bob Celestin is either, so it just was kind of just a funny moment. Maybe Bob Celestin is a big deal where he's from, but I definitely never heard of him. But for Chess to say his name wrong, Bob Celeste is now just some like mythical character in the battle rap ethos. What makes it especially funny is how Smack is looking at him, and the camera's just like perfectly has Smack sitting right there. And then like New Jersey Twerk kind of gives him a look, and everyone's kind of like, who the fuck is Bob Celeste? Another funny thing is the fact that somebody actually took the name Bob Celeste and uses it as their rap alias. And you just can't say Bob Celeste without following it up with that's big lawyer shit. All right, the Geechee Gotti tree. The Geechee Gotti tree situation is classic. It's funny. It's perfect. You guys have to watch the original clip. It's so funny. It literally looks like a Saturday Night Live sketch or something. Like it's like high art. It's incredible. So I thought about having Moon. So this, okay, hang on. I gotta back up. This actually took place while Moon was fighting drugs. And I thought about putting Moon and drugs on here, but like the Geechee Gotti tree situation kind of just overshadows that whole situation. So I feel like my hands are tied. I just got to go with the Geechee Gotti tree. So there's a video of Geechee Gotti and a few others pulling up, and Drugs is about to fight Moon, and they're like spilling out into the streets fighting, like having a real scrap. Like Moon hits Drugs with a suplex. Like it's one of the best fights in battle rap history, no doubt. But the start of the video is Geechee with a couple others like walking up on the scene, and you can see Geechee like kind of just see something is off, and he kind of like takes a few side steps and like ducks back behind this tree, but like he's not really hiding behind it. The tree is tiny and he's 10 times the size of the tree, so it's not even really possible to hide behind it. And I don't know, man, I think we've all kind of been in those situations where you're approaching something and then you feel a little uncomfortable and you pull back a bit. It's kind of street smarts, right? Like, but again, this is battle rap, just like Tay-Rock with the door. Like, you just have to go in on someone, anything, right? Any weakness, right? It's character assassination. That's the name of the game. And Geechee Gotti is one of the most credible guys in battle rap. So to have anything against him, right, you're going to take that angle, of course. And yeah, I kind of feel like when you pull up on a situation, you kind of make an assessment. Do I want to get involved or do I not? And he figured it wasn't worth it to get involved. But just like the perfect visual imagery of them pulling up and then Geechee just like peeling back a little bit behind the tree. And then it pans over to the fight, which is, mind you, in the middle of the street, right? Like, it was just an amazing video. You guys got to check that out, man. But there's so many quotes about this fucking tree. My personal favorite, I think, is maybe Hall of the Dawn talking about weed. And again, no one was seriously hurt, so I feel like if someone was hurt, it wouldn't be that funny. But no one was seriously hurt, thankfully. So we just have this funny video to watch and reminisce on. But yeah, that whole video is just one of the most incredible videos of all time. It's so funny. It's perfect. Snitch Boy. This is one of the biggest body bags in battle rap history. It's Big K against Adi Boom. And Big K's first round, he took an angle against Adi Boom with paperwork, like labeling him a snitch and even having the whole crowd shout out him Snitch Boy. And Adi Boom was pretty much never seen again. If you ask a battle fan what the biggest body bag of all time is, I feel like there's maybe 10 answers that they'll give you, and this is one of the biggest. And it actually kind of transcended beyond battle rap because Adi Boom had to switch careers. Like, whenever a body bag has real life implications, that just takes it to a whole other level. Now, let's be real here. If you're a snitch, you probably shouldn't battle rap because it'll get fucking dark. Busta Rhymes. Let's throw it back quickly to Jay-Z versus DMX. Remember I mentioned they went to the same high school? What I didn't mention was it was the same high school that Biggie Smalls and Busta Rhymes had attended, and Jay-Z and Busta had a lunchroom battle. Jay-Z won. He got the better of him. So that's just like a fun piece of battle rap history. However, Busta Rhymes actually attended Summer Madness 2. He's a fan of the culture, and he has a classic video of him with ODB rapping. I don't want to call that a battle because to me it isn't. It's a good-natured cypher. But people call it a rap battle, so it feels a little relevant. What feels a lot more relevant was the fact that Busta Rhymes went to his old high school, Westinghouse, the same place he battled Jay-Z back in the day, and he went and battled a student there. Just so cool. So salute to Busta Rhymes.
Would you consider yourself a battle rapper?
Absolutely, that's where I come from.
That's where you come from?
No question.
You remember eating fools up back in the day?
Yeah, that's what we had to do. Especially before you got a record deal. That was your way of getting your little buzz up, your little attention, your little acknowledgments. You know what I'm saying? Me and Brown met battling. I was beatboxing for Brown, and he was dissing me.
Hitman Holla and Bill Collector. These guys' relationship seems like a movie, so I don't know how far back they actually go on a personal level, but for this story here, it starts on Twitter. So Bill had tweeted out that he would rob Hitman Holla. And Hitman's like, okay, if you're saying stuff like that, then it's kind of on sight. So fast forward, and they do see each other in person. And Hitman's like, hey, are you going to rob me? And Bill Collector's like, I should. And then Hitman's brother, who's kind of always there to throw down a punch for his brother, swung on Bill. Bill says he snucked him. There's a classic video of Bill Collector in a subway with like an ice pack. And he's like, oh, he snuck me. So this incident was a pretty big thing for the battle rap community. It was like pretty big news and like hot gossip. Now, what is just admirable is how Bill Collector handled himself after this, and then the battle he had with Hitman. Like, sometimes in life you just take an L, you know, and Hitman took it on the chin. And I feel like that's a great way to judge a man, is not how they handle themselves in W's, but how they handle themselves in losses. And Hitman really bounced back and had probably, if you ask most fans of his, probably his greatest performance against Hitman Holla. And it traces back to the Twitter thing. And it took a few years for the whole saga to play out. And it really just culminated in their battle on RBE just being like cinema, you know? And a funny part of this is Hitman Holla once clowned John the Don for having a close battle with Bill Collector. So that's something that people now flip on Hitman. So just a classic battle, classic saga. Salute to Hitman and Bill. Two guys I'm sure I'll be referencing and mentioning throughout the entirety of this iceberg. Eminem versus Marv 1. This is just a very, very cool battle because Marv is still in the battle rap game. And at this point, he's kind of like an ambassador. It almost feels like Marv 1 is the man. And I remember going through the DVD menu as a kid and finding those bonus battles and just being like obsessed with them. I liked those battles probably more than the ones in the actual movie. And little did I know that all these years later, I would still be watching Marv. He's just been such a staple of battle rap. And the fact that he battled Eminem is just pretty cool. Him and Eminem actually are friends to this day. The Conceited meme. Have you ever seen this GIF? I'm willing to bet you have. I'm willing to bet millions upon millions of people have seen that GIF that don't know who Conceited is, that don't even know what battle rap is. Like, Conceited might be the most recognizable battle rapper just based on that GIF. That comes from the battle Conceited versus Jesse James. 2 minutes and 50 seconds if you want to see for yourself. And it's just a perfect camera zoom in. So I believe this was done by the legendary Twiz, and if it wasn't, shout out to the legendary Twiz. So the Dot Mob grope is something that goes back to T-Rex versus Averb at Summer Madness 2. Like, over the years, we've heard so many like Dot Mob ass grabbing jokes, and it starts from that battle. First and foremost, Dot Mob is a squad, basically. Dot Mob is basically Mook, Rex, K-Shine. Some other guys have repped Dot Mob over the years, but it's mostly those three. And in this battle, especially towards the end of the battle, when K-Shine gets involved, and there's this one guy in their corner who is just so into the butt taps. He just keeps touching their asses. And he even went for a full-on grab, squeezing that thing, man. So now, even all these years later, we still hear about this. People call T-Rex gay because some guy grabbed his ass. Like, it's just a weird move to be behind someone in a rap battle and do that. Like, I can't justify that. That's weird. And it's kind of just like a piece of like Dot Mob's legacy at this point. But I'm sure P. Diddy was enjoying the show.
His jeans is jacked up. That's a cuff. He got so fucking excited. He grabbed another man's ass. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck. He don't care. He doesn't care. Okay, in case you guys want to know what time it was. This would have been a fame. Yeah. Let's have sex, Rex! Hold on. Oh, shit. Exactly 44 minutes and 59 seconds. Look at this shit, dog. I am signing out. This shit is gay as fuck.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's fine.
Ocho Cinco. This is former NFL wide receiver Chad Johnson. And Ocho Cinco is a huge fan of battles. And at Smack Volume 11, he had a 2-on-1. He was the one against Charlie Clips and DNA. But that's not all. He also rapped alongside DNA and New Jersey Twerk years ago. And he loves to call battle rappers out and say he would body them. He's called out Tay-Rock, Arsenal, Hollow, Goods, and Averb, and even Lil Wayne. He said he'll go to jail just to battle Sue Surf. And he even had his own little battle with Loaded Lux. None of these battles have gone well for Ocho Cinco, by the way. But if he keeps trying, maybe one day he'll win a battle. Salute to Ocho, man. He had some of my favorite highlights growing up. So DNA's mom. This is one that had like a lot of misinformation about it because people would believe the things that battle rappers who were battling DNA would say. It was very common for our battlers to bring up DNA's mom. Now I feel like it's important to mention that DNA was actually the first one to bring it up in his battle against Big T. And I think because he used the word disabled, battle rap's just that kind of thing. You give someone an inch, they're going to take a mile. So people would say his mom was like mentally disabled, for example, which she was not. Sharon called her a vegetable, which is like as disabled as someone can get, which she was obviously not. But she had a bad back. She wasn't like mentally disabled or impaired by any stretch of the imagination. So it's sort of unfortunate that because of battles, people had that idea about her. Now I have to send my condolences to DNA. He lost his mom about a year ago. And you can tell from the way that DNA eulogizes her and tributes her through social media that they had a great relationship and he really loved her a lot. DNA was barely 30 when he lost his mom. And losing your parents is something that a lot of people have the privilege of losing later on in life. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for DNA, and I know he's still feeling that pain today, so my condolences to DNA. I always felt like DNA kind of had a high fight IQ, so to speak, in battles, and I'm sure some of that wit was instilled in him by his mother. May she rest in peace. Fat Joe and Dirt Nasty. This is a classic scene from the movie Scary Movie 3. It is a parody of 8 Mile. Not only is it a pretty funny scene, but it feels a little relevant because Dirt Nasty kind of had like one foot in the battle arena. And he actually had a 2-on-2 on grind time with Andy Milonakis. One part about Dirt Nasty that I always loved was his just unhinged freestyles. Even when he starts like rapping in gibberish, I just find him so entertaining. And he actually took those freestyles onto the Battle app, if anyone remembers the Battle app. That thing is pretty far down the iceberg. But yeah, Scary Movie 3 is one of like the most famous movies to have a rap battle in it. And it's Fat Joe, obviously. Fat Joe's a cool guy. I don't know, maybe. To me, it was Fat Joe who put Remy Ma on, and she definitely outshined him on Lean Back with a fire-ass verse. But yeah, it's just a cool, fun rap battle from a movie. Not really much to say else beyond that. COTY. This is Champion of the Year, or as everyone calls it, Cody. This is an award that started in the year 2017 by J Black. This is currently the biggest award and the most sought-after prize in all of battle rap. And to even make the top 20 rankings is a major accomplishment for a battle rapper. This is the closest thing you would see to actual standings in battle rap, at least at the current moment. So the inaugural winner in 2017 was O-Red. Geechee Gotti went back-to-back in 2018 and 2019. Chilla Jones won in 2020. And then Geechee circles back and wins it again, becoming not only the first battle rapper to win 2, but the first battle rapper to win 3. In 2002, Rum Nitty finally won after coming close a few times. And most recently, 2023, Cody was Big K. There's currently ongoing discourse for who will be the 2024 winner, but every single year there's just passionate debates about who the winner is, and even beyond that, the rankings and the order of the rankings. And it really does generate a buzz. The cash prize is generated by community donations, so it varies year to year, but it's thousands of dollars. It's not an insignificant amount. And honestly, this award is like so cool. The fact that like J Black started doing this, honestly, that's like what elevates J Black to me. Like as a blogger, to be honest, like this is like just giving back, right? That's just like pure out of love. And I'm looking forward to speaking on his battle against Queensflip, because that's a fucking hood classic. But this award, and not only this award, but the discourse around the award, it just really kind of elevates everything, because it gives a sort of ranking. And like we can look back on Geechee Gotti's run, for example, and he has the Cody's to back it up. You know what I mean? Like there were so many great runs before Cody was a thing that just don't have the same cachet as guys' runs who hit that Cody. You know what I mean? What's great about it is it's not just like a one league award. Like leagues sometimes do title matches, but this is just like so much bigger than that. And we really kind of have J Black to thank. So if you see him, shake his hand. Mike P's lady. This is a reference to Mike P's battle with Ryda, and it's a little bit infamous. So basically, prior to Mike's relationship, Ryda knew her, and he was saying some personal details about her, like a tattoo she had, stuff like that. He is one of the most like infamously disrespectful rounds and personal rounds in battle rap history. This battle's still referenced and talked about to this day, and even gets mentioned sometimes in battles that Mike's not even in. But the truth is, like, all of our girls have passed, don't they? Like, obviously you frame it in a damaging way against Mike, but like unless you learn like high school sweethearts with like your wife or whatever, like it's really, really high likelihood that similar things happen across all relationships. So that to me is honestly whatever. And like, I don't know, there's no way like a healthy, loving relationship is like a bad one or a bad thing to have, right? Like, and the fact that Mike P is taking care of kids, I think that's admirable. A lot of men, I think, want to feel like they're above something like that. But if you watch him on stream, it's just like so evident. Like, it just seems like a household that really loves each other, man. And I don't know, I just can't see anything like really negative about that. But like obviously as men, like a lot of us have insecurities about like any girls we're with and their past. So I feel like this is kind of just like a bigger symptom of that. But since it's like kind of infamous, I kind of felt it deserved to be there. Like if you consider that like Rad is not that big of a battle rapper, but like the angle he took is like so much bigger than him, right?
I think what this battle shows more than anything is the kind of risk you're taking by battling someone who, one, has been intimate with your partner, and two, showing up to that battle with your partner. That's a pretty big risk, to be honest. And Mike probably thought Ryder wasn't going to go there, but then he did, which is his right. In my opinion, there's no lines in battle rap. But I think a big part of the reaction was just out of surprise that he actually was saying that. To give you an example, Geechee Gotti took the same topic and probably went even harder than Ryder did. And Geechee is obviously, you know, respectfully just like an echelon above. And even though his material was so much stronger, people still reference the Ryder battle instead. But like Geechee said in his round against Mike, that's something that Mike is probably going to have to hear for as long as he's battling. Part of me feels like what really gets the reaction is more so that Ryder took it there, rather than the material itself. I don't know if like anyone has ever been in like a venue when there's like a personal attack like that and like all parties are there. It's really like kind of visceral. That's a unique energy that might only exist at a rap battle. But the public perception during this battle was that Mike was looking a little bothered by what was being said by Ryder. So I think that the way you react to bars being said about you can really influence how those bars not only land on people's ears, but like affect the whole narrative. Like a well-executed angle can not only win you the battle, but just paint your opponent in a light that just kind of sticks to them, you know, for the rest of their career. But what makes this case even more interesting is this was one of the rare actually judged battles on URL, and Mike P won. Yet the quote narrative would probably have you think he didn't win that battle, even though it's like one of the literal battles where you can say he won. Like most battles are subjective. It's very rarely that they have a winner, especially on URL. I just find that to be like a weird little side note.
I wanted to say, I don't know if you hear this enough, but I'm really proud of you and respect you a lot for stepping up to be a stepfather. Sometimes, you know, stepfathers don't get enough appreciation for that, and maybe you do. But if not, I just want to say I really appreciate it. And I respect you, and a lot of people, and that's more than anything, rapper, anything. And I appreciate it. Yeah, it takes a man to do that, and I'm sure they really, really appreciate it as well. Not to, you know, and of course Ashley, you know what I mean. So it's
yeah. You know, when you find the one, like when you find her, it wasn't even a thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people, like, I know it's meme worthy and funny when you talk about like dating someone with kids or having stepkids or being a stepfather, but like it wasn't even a thought. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Her having kids, like it was never like something where I was like, oh man, that's the icebreaker, you know, children. Oh damn! Like it wasn't like it wasn't even a thought at first. And like first of all, thank you very much. Like I do appreciate that, and I do have people that, you know, we get a lot of support. Although what might seem like on the outside, like from what recently happened with the last battle and all that crazy stuff, we get so much fucking support. And I feel good through their eyes because I see what it means to be in my position. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all the validation is right there every single day. So
Math Hoffa and Mook. This refers to not only a hypothetical battle between them that some people still want to see to this day, but also a physical altercation where Math Hoffa famously pistol whipped Murda Mook. Now, the funny thing about this is they actually reconciled, did podcasts together and some other stuff together, but they were trying to get Math Hoffa, at least, was trying to get this battle on the card that Drake funded during the Caffeine era called Till Death Do Us Part. He wanted the battle to happen. A lot of people wanted the battle to happen, but I guess Murda Mook didn't want the battle to happen. and then they had a falling out again because of that. Math Hoffa hasn't battled in a while. They say he's retired. I think he will come back for a battle with Mook. I don't know if we're ever going to see it, but I still think that this battle is possible, and there are some people out there that say it needs to happen. So this fight actually took place after T-Rex battled Math Hoffa. This was the first event of the YouTube era URL TV. And as the story goes, Cortez gave Math Hoffa the gun. Math Hoffa pistol whips Murda Mook, and Murda Mook actually talks about this in his battle with Iron. And he says that he won because he didn't have to go to the hospital after he got jumped. Now, allegedly, a little later on, Math Hoffa did get jumped himself in a clothing store, allegedly sent by Mook. And then after that, they squash it, and then it reignites when their battle fails to materialize on Drake's Till Death Do Us Part. And still, years later, still a battle that hasn't gone down. But the physical altercation is quite infamous at this point, and it's been brought up a handful of times by several battle rappers in their rounds. It just seems like there was too much tension between their two crews at T-Rex versus Math Hoffa, and things boiled over and got physical. And here we are almost 20 years later, and still feeling the fallout. But it is quite rare for like battle rap animosity to remain after the battle. Like usually after the battle it's squashed, but in the rare times it isn't, and this is one of those cases. Jersey. This is a reference to battle rappers from Jersey saying the word Jersey as a way to end their rounds. And this wasn't by design. Oftentimes guys would be choking and they would say Jersey as a way to just end their round and get out of there. But then battle rap is so meta that guys started saying it who weren't choking just to end their rounds. And now it's to the point where someone who's not even from Jersey can say Jersey, and you just know that that's the end of their round. To me, this became really, really popular through New Jersey Twerk. And one thing I would like to point out is I feel like Ilmac is kind of the one who normalized calling time on yourself. But he never used the word Jersey, he would say time. And then that sort of became a thing. And then guys from Jersey, instead of saying time, would say Jersey. And then that became infamous. So then now everyone just says Jersey, and everyone just kind of knows what it means. But I could imagine if you're not a battle rap fan, that would be so confusing to just hear Jersey. Alright, we're getting to that. Who the fuck is still here? Jeez. Psycho. Yo, Kai Cenat. This is a pretty recent one. Kai Cenat's a live streamer with a huge audience, and he's actually had some battle rappers on his platform. And they've actually had freestyle battles on there. This is something I had no idea about until recently when Frack was on it. And there were some other rappers on there who were pretty cool, but I didn't recognize any of them other than Frack. But yeah, Kai Cenat's famous as shit. And looks like he had a rap battle with this dude, I Show Speed, and Lil Yachty. But it looks like he's put quite a few of these rap battle streams on. It's a pretty big platform for someone to be freestyling on. I imagine that's got to be the biggest on the whole internet. Maybe you could say Wild 'N Out, for example, is bigger, but I think in terms of live internet freestyles, that's got to be the biggest platform you can have. They get hundreds of thousands of viewers, which is crazy. And then the VODs get millions of views, the mood seems pretty good in there. It seems like some fun energy going on. It's not what you might think of as a rap battle, but I'm here for that energy. I think it's pretty cool, even though it's not what we might consider to be a rap battle. These things get millions of views, and I'm sure bring people into the culture that otherwise probably wouldn't have known anything about it. So shout out to Kai Cenat. Last entry on the surface, Briz Rawstein. Briz Rawstein, he is just one of the greatest performers of all time. He was just so captivating as a battler, and it's been a while he hasn't battled. I don't really use the word retirement because everyone who says they retire just comes back and battles in a year or whatever, but also because I think it was Soul from the UK who said how do you retire from a hobby, But I think we're all kind of holding on to the idea that Briz may come back one day. We all want to see him battle Murda Mook, but I think, to be honest, we would take anything with Briz. So Briz actually has my favorite punchline of all time.
Yak town. Yo, drunk ass better put the yak down. Cause I'm gonna get rich or die trying. And this 50 don't back down. These serve all day. Catch a Mac round. I have his body hanging halfway out the bag like a hash brown.
It's just so simple and perfect. It's perfectly simple. You know what I mean? Not simple in a disrespectful way, but you need those bars to be easily digestible in order to shake a room, Like if you think about like all the big room shakers, they're all kind of on the simple side, you know, but like still devastating. I find there's like a delicate balance of like being too simple and then being like too on the nose and then just like not hitting hard enough. But there's like a beautiful equilibrium and coefficient, and Briz would find it, and he had such a like unique and interesting delivery that his battles were just like so watchable, and he was so good. As it stands right now, the 2-on-2 where the fight broke out against Murda Mook is his last battle. Now we're going on 5 years since we've seen him. I remain optimistic that we're going to see him back in the battle arena. I know a lot of people are waiting on that Mook matchup, but for me, I would love to see Sue Surf and Briz. That to me is like my dream matchup. Like Daylight and Lux obviously is too, and that one hopefully fucking happens. Like Briz Rothstein and Sue Surf, I'm sure will never happen. So it's like my like hypothetical impossible battle, but it would be amazing to see. And to be honest, it would just be amazing to see Briz Rothstein return. He was definitely one of the most like well-liked battlers in the scene. So many battle rappers are like maybe like hit and miss to people. There's mixed reactions. Some people are fans of one guy and not the other. But everyone fucking loves Briz, you know, except for Mook, obviously. I think there are several reasons why Briz hasn't returned yet. He's had some things going on in his personal life, and I think he just wants to be at a good place mentally, physically, spiritually before he has to stand in front of, you know, some disrespectful bars. Makes sense, right? So on a personal level, I just hope Briz is doing good, and I think I speak for everyone when I say I'm dying to see him come back. So if he is retired, salute for a legendary career. If that's not the case and he blesses us with another performance, then it's fucking party time.
That's it, man. That's the end. I can't believe you made it. Shout out to you. I hope that if you're not the biggest battle rap fan, maybe you learned something. If you are the biggest battle rap fan, hopefully this shit was accurate. So much of this stuff is, and it's just making sort of educated best guesses, like DNA with the first slogan, for example, or the first Don DeMarco. Those are some things I had to try to piece those puzzle pieces together myself. And I hope I did it justice, because like this shit is so niche. It's kind of really impossible to just do research on it, you know what I mean? So much of this stuff is kind of like you had to be there, and that's kind of why I wanted to make this in the first place. Now, I do want to apologize to you, the viewer. This was actually incredibly challenging for me to make. I've never made any sort of video anywhere close to this long. I had to learn some lessons the hard way. Like my computer just can't handle it, to be honest. I was about 75% done, and my computer crashed out, and I wasn't even able to open up like the project file without just the program crashing. And I'm using just free software. Shit computer. Obviously I have a shit microphone too, which I am sorry for also, but I just gotta work with what I got right now. But yeah, when it would be crashing out, I just had to kind of salvage what I could, and I wasn't able to even export it in full HD, which is really disappointing to me. But if you see any like quick jump cuts or like changes in quality and things like that, that's because I had almost no choice. Like I didn't even have enough space on my hard drive to export it in full, so I had to kind of export it in worse quality to save some data. Like I never really like foresaw these things happening. Like obviously I'm quite new to this, but shout out to you if you're fucking watching this, and if you do video editing yourself, man, like if you have any solutions for me, like let me know. But yeah, man, part 3, like this is kind of why I'm saying this in the first place, because like the further down it goes, I think the kind of more explaining that the entries are going to need, and then there's also just more entries. Like if you consider the first layer only took like 20-25 minutes, this one more entries and needs a little more explaining. It's almost 2 hours here. So like the next one, so the next one might be like 2.5, but like my sort of vision, I don't want to use that word vision because that sounds like self-important or grandiose, but like I would have preferred to put them all on the same video. Like tier 1 gets a video, tier 2 gets a video, tier 3 gets a video, but I just don't know if that's possible with my, you know, hardware and software limitations right now. So I might have to figure something out. And if you have any feedback, one thing I was thinking of is making like each entry on the list its own video or something, and then I can maybe actually even go deeper. So I'll be real, there's some topics on here that I wish I could have gone deeper into, but I know how long this is, and I know time is valuable, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to waste your time. I'm trying to give the best abridged version that I possibly can. But there was some stuff, like honestly Daylight, I know I kind of rambled on about Daylight. My bad. I know Daylight's not everyone's cup of tea, and if he's not, that probably really annoyed you. But I'm really looking forward to like getting into some of like the weirder entries on here. There's so many things on here that are just so obscure and bizarre and just like need the story to be told, because there's so many untold stories of battle rap history, and I just think that's kind of unfortunate, you know? It's almost like so much of like battle rap history is just like an oral tradition or something, and it's kind of something that you have to like learn almost through like osmosis or something, and it can be really difficult to infiltrate the battle rap world as an outsider and actually understand what's going on. And like I love like these iceberg memes, and I love like going down rabbit holes, and I love battle rap, so it all just kind of made sense
to make this, because I think this could be like a good resource for like new fans. Like there's so much stuff that's like, where do you even start like to learn about any of this, you know what I mean? Well, shit, man, at this point I just gotta salute to you for sticking through that. This shit is longer than a motherfucker, but I love you. Salute to you, and thank you for watching. Much appreciated. Yo, I'll catch you on part 3. Hopefully that one is less than 3 hours. There's a lot of fucking entries on that tier. All right, peace out.